Hey, fellow comic book geeks. How are you? Uh, I've five books to show you that I just recently bought. Two of them are books that I've been looking for years, um, and they just popped up on eBay one day, and I wrote the guy. I offered him because he wanted a lot of money. I offered him a little less, and he accepted, and I bought them. Um, for me, it was a lot of money, but they just I never see them, and these are in really fine condition. But I'll start off with the smaller stuff. Um, I found this for my communism saga. This is Grenada. Um, it's a CIA actually propaganda comic book about well, you can. It speaks for itself, right? This is what happens when the communists are in charge, and this is what happens when the Americans are in charge. So of course you just want America because then everybody's happy and everything is great. Rescued from rape and slavery. It's I haven't read it yet. It's in really nice condition. It's a new mint. Um, it says so, but with the raw books, I have a lot of very bad experience because it's really hard to see on pictures when you buy something whether there's any flaws or anything at all. It didn't need to be an ear mint book for me. I wanted this, but when you're paying a good price for something, you want it to be in the condition that they say that it's in. And this seller was cool. The book is in great condition. Um, I flicked through it with my daughter. It's very funny. Oh, I gotta show you an image here, if I can get it out. It's printed on very cheap paper, so I don't want to. No, I can't. I need time to wickle it out, but um, I'm really happy that I found this. Um, it wasn't that hard to find actually, but yeah, it's not that much about communism. It's more about how great the Americans are. Um, but it's a little bit of fun history, I think. Um, Speaking of, in the same vein, you have Inflation is Your Fight. I read this. This is it's I think it's a fine maybe. Um, but actually the cover is actually quite nice. The cover is by maybe you can see it actually yourself. It's by Dan Barry. Yeah, Dan Barry. Um, it says so down here. He's the guy who did the Tarzan strip and the Flash Gordon strip. He also did the poster for the 1980 Flash Gordon movie. No, this is a fine, very fine. Yeah, it is a nice copy actually. It's from 1951. And it's a book about inflation is a bad thing and you don't want it and you want to help your government and you want to do as your government tells you to do. So could have been a communist book actually, but it's a capitalist book. Yeah, it's I for me these are very historic. This is very much a snapshot of the time, how society worked back in 1951, the thought process of there's a hare out in the field. It's a wee one. Um, the thought process of the people, of course, but also of the whole system. Um, and this is after World War II. Um, it has Hitler in it as well, and yeah, and it's actually, it's not a bad history book on how different civilizations have tried to solve their problem by printing more money, and how it didn't really pan out for anybody. um, I really like the cover. I don't think it's Dan Barry on the inside, but he did a really, really nice cover. Look at the. I really love this. Um, it's sort of muted, but it's also very intense. It's like a fire burning in the background, and it's a soldier on a sick bed, and his clever friend, and he's clever, his friend, because he has glasses. Um, tells him about inflation and how it's a bad thing and you have to fight it. And then the guy fights it. And then this book. I've been looking for this book. I have to take it out for a long time as well. I love this cover. See if I can remove the glare. Double Talk. The communists' most dangerous weapon. Right. And well, yeah, it speaks for itself, right? Um, what's his name? It's not Gorbachev. It's the guy after Stalin. Ah, I can't remember his name right. Right here and now. Mm, anyway, Khrushchev. I think it's Khrushchev. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that hand puppets and the devil hand puppet. It's just so grotesque. I love it. And then on the back cover, and this is why I would have bought this raw if I could find it. I don't mind it being encapsulated. I would like to read it actually. I don't think I've read this. No. So I might break it out and read it. It's a 4.0. It's not, but it's hard to find. They don't come up for sale very often. I found one, and it might have been a better grade. I don't think they said it was a small secondhand shop somewhere. I just, when you're going down the rabbit hole late at night on the internet, and you're looking for things, and I was looking for this, and you just keep digging, and I found like a secondhand shop somewhere in the U.S. and they had a copy of this, and it was like $500 raw. But it might have been in a better grade. I don't know, but it was too expensive for me. So I found this on my comic shop. Here's the back cover. And the Americanism Committee. Yeah, this is just saying that you can buy more of these and give them to your friends or school or church or whatever you want. I really, really like this. Great cover. Hard to find. They're very hard to find, these. They were free and handed out, but I don't think anybody ever saved them for anything. Does it say who did the art? I don't think so. No. The artists on these are usually anonymous. It's a work for hire, but this is not bad. This is it's the setup. I'm sorry, my nails are all black because I tarred the bottom of the house. So it's not dirty. Well, it is. But it's tar. It's like it's not coming off. Anyway, sorry for that. Um, this is a very graphical. I like the graphics on this. The way it's set up. I mean, maybe you could have the little devil fella could have held the hammer. I don't know. The blood on the sickle. It's subtle. Yeah. Anyway, I'm very happy I got this. I have one more. on its way, but it's a romance book. Um, okay, and then to my two amazing finds. I'm so happy I found this. I started reading this series in 1987. When I started reading US comic books, I'd read the Danish translated comic books before that. And we have one shop in Copenhagen. Maybe we had more back then in Denmark, but now I think we only have one. But we have one shop in Copenhagen who had single issues. There were no trades back then, so. But, and I remember walking down there and I just read the Cloak and Dagger miniseries in Danish and I loved it. Bill Mandlow's story, engaging, different, and Rick Leonardi's amazing artwork that's both light. It feels like a dance almost. So I was looking for more Cloak and Dagger, and I bought Strange Tales 11, I think it was. No, maybe it was Cloak and Dagger 11 and Strange Tales 1, something like that. I can't remember. I have the book still. The first US comic books I bought, I think it was in 87, maybe it was in 88. Anyway, at the back of the rack, there was like one side it was Marvel, the other side was DC, and it was just single issues. Like there was a lot of issues. It was marvelous to walk around on there. I also bought Uncanny X-Men 214. Yeah. But I sold it again because it wasn't John Byrne. It was, I think was it Barry Windsor Smith or Alan Davis? And I fell in love with both these guys' artwork, but it wasn't the team that I was familiar with from the Claremont Byrne run. That's another story. Sorry. At the end of the aisle, they had like a small stand. There was like maybe 4 times 6 independent comic books, and like really weird independent comic books. And one of them was Elflord by Barry Blair from Aircell, like a Canadian publisher in a Danish comic book shop in 1987 or 1988. That was weird. It's 1987, I'm pretty sure. So I bought that and I really liked it. It was different, but it was of course I'd read Tolkien's The Lord of the Ring, The Lord of the Rings, and I played role playing games, like not dirty ones, but the one where you have dices and you're a hobbit or a dwarf or whatever. I did a lot of that, but I was sort of starved for fantasy, like Lord of the Rings type of fantasy. There was nothing back then, nothing. And then I found this strange little series called Elflord. And I read it and I really, really liked it. And it was different. And I liked the drawings as well. They were strange and maybe it was a little bit, maybe it was tiny little bit erotic as well. There was no nudity and stuff like that. But I was 15 years old back then. So maybe I was, just a little bit. They had like porn comics as well, because they had like everything, and they were back there as well. But they had Elflord, Samurai, Maelstrom. Do I remember the other ones? Jake Trash. They had like a lot of aircell books, and I don't know why. Um, anyway, I bought it, loved it, bought the whole series. Found out there was a short miniseries before that. Bought that one. Um, it took me years to get it all, because like if there was a an issue missing down there, I couldn't find it anywhere else. It's not something you back then you couldn't go on the internet and just click and order a comic book and it would be in your mailbox the next day. Back then it was harder to get comic books. It was fucking impossible to get them in Denmark. If they weren't down in that shop, you couldn't get it. That was just it. I remember X-Men 253, Uncanny X-Men 253. There was some hiccup with distribution and the shop never got them. It just went from 252 to 254. And I was going mental because I was missing that issue. But I couldn't get it anywhere. I just, there was nowhere you can get it. So I when I started buying comic books on the internet, and I did that way back in the days, when it was first starting out, I was pretty fast to go on the internet and start buying comic books. I bought from eBay in the very beginning, and I remember from Amazon. I didn't buy comic books on Amazon. I bought books, but I remember the first. I got something, maybe a mouse pad and a coffee mug or something like that, because I was one of the, maybe, I don't know, first 1,000 or 10,000 customers or something like that. It was weird to think about now, right? With Amazon being like huge. I really liked Amazon back then because it was a bookstore, and I loved reading, and you could get like all the books you wanted. That was amazing. And there was no back then. There was no you didn't have to pay um, any VAT on anything. No taxes, nothing. You just ordered it on the net, and it shipped to you, and that was it. Now it's a fucking nightmare. Anyway, I bought Barry Blair's run on Elflord was it 4 issues in the miniseries or 6 issues? I can't remember. And then 31 issue in the main series. And then I found out that the guy had, years before he was on Aircell, he had his own publishing company called Nightwind. And there he published 8 issues of Elflord. And I tried to get my grubby little fingers on them, but I couldn't find them anywhere. And then I sort of forgot, and life moved on, and I had kids and a career and all that crap. I love my kids, but comics were less important. And then when I got back into comics, that was in 14 or 15. When new comics were still a lot of fun. And DC did a lot of crazy things where they revamped their entire brand. They started over again. Court of the Owls, all that. It was a good time, to be a comic book reader. There was a lot of good titles out there. Marvel did well as well. Yeah, I think they did some. They had a lot of good writers back then. Jason Aaron was Scalped. Amazing comic book. Anyway, I'm getting off track again. I'm not very good at staying on track. Sorry about that. Anyway, I read the Elflord, got the 1 to 31 finally, got the miniseries, got the reprints, and then I found out about the first 8 issues. The first 8 issues were special because they did 500 copies of number one and 200 copies of all the other books, 2 to 7. And I've seen them during the years, from time to time on eBay, but they were very expensive. Not as expensive as they are now, of course, but live and learn. So I last month they popped up on eBay. I rushed in. I made the guy an offer. We negotiated back and forth. The most important thing for me was that he was willing to send books to Denmark, because there are so many sellers on eBay who won't ship international. I don't know why. There are 2 books on eBay right now that I really want to buy, but the fuckers won't send them to me. And it's like, you can't sell them. I want to buy them. You can look at my feedback. I got excellent feedback. Anyway, the books that I bought from a great Canadian guy, actually, who happened to have them, was Elflord number 4. $2. This is early Barry Blair artwork. But look at the details on that. And it gets crazy on the next one. Just look at all the fucking lines in the logo. Jesus. I haven't read them yet. I've looked through them. I've been wearing gloves and all that. There's a back cover as well, but I can't show you because they need to be in a slightly bigger back. I've ordered them, so they're on their way. Number 4 and number 6. And look at the details on this. This is... Look at the grass. It's fucking amazing it is. Look at the tree. Hang on a second, I'll find the tree. Look at that. The lizard man. And they're signed by Barry Blair on the inside, or this one is. I can't remember if this one is. It's not too important, but it's a fun fact. But they are in really nice condition. These are near mint, both of them. Maybe near mint minus. Really, really nice condition. Ottawa's own fantasy magazine. It's the guy was like, the seller was like, what the fuck is a guy from Denmark doing buying a small time Canadian fantasy magazine? But the fact was that I read the books in 1987, fell in love with them, and wanted more. And now I'm an adult collector and I can afford this. There's no sex in these. It's not like that type of adult. I feel like I have to defend myself all the time. I don't. This is if I wanted to read adult stuff, I would, but I have no interest in that. I haven't been this excited about getting a comic book in many years. Maybe some of the Uncanny X-Men that I have. Yeah. So I was supposed to buy Uncanny X-Men 3, 2, and 3, or one of them, but then I bought these instead. So I have to wait a bit with the Uncanny X-Men because I can't afford to buy high price comic books every month. I have to source it out. I just had to figure out which ear it was. My hair was sticking out of. So this is the story. This is why I love comic books. When I find stuff like this, I'm like a small child. I'm so excited. I I was I couldn't wait for the postal. It's a lady who brings it out here, or a woman. She's a lady. She's a very nice lady. Um, I live out in the country, and it's a lady who brings the post out here, and she's very nice. And I couldn't wait for her to arrive. Because I was tracking it on the internet, and I knew when it was coming, and I was so excited. um, and I was so amazed, and I was really scared that something had happened to it in transit. Um, but he packed it sort of well. I wish he had packed it a little better, but nothing happened. I must say that the Canadian Postal Service is really, really good, as is the Danish at being careful with the packages. I recently sold something to the US, and man, it looked like they had, like, I don't know, they had used it to play soccer with it. It just kicked the box around. Anyway, but this arrived in pristine condition. I was so happy getting these. So now I just need um, 1 to 3, 5, and 7 and 8. And of course, 5 is the most important one right now because I have 4 and 6. And my autistic mind just can't handle that. So, but I have these. I have a special place for them where they're out of reach for my small child. Um, I I'm amazed at this. These are really, really, really works of art. Um, the details, the drawings inside are decent. I like to I I like how to see an artist progress. Um, this is Barry Blair's early work. Um, he does get better, I think, and actually he's dead now, sadly, but he ended up doing soft core porn books, which is, there are readers for that out there, and you can sort of, as you progress in the Elflord saga, you can sort of see it, steering in that direction, like really, really slowly, but getting off track. He actually, I think he did some work on ElfQuest, or maybe Windy Penny did some work on the Elflord. I can't remember. Maybe they both like worked for each other. So I have to reread the entire Elflord saga. Um, I found it very amusing reading it back then. Now I'm a little bit older. It might not be as good, but I have fond memories of it. And it was great to have that, that fantasy story, that Tolkien ish fantasy story. Because there was nothing, like I said. Anyway, I'm not going to drag it out any longer. I'm just going to 5 amazing books for me, and I'm the collector here, so I get to decide what I think is amazing. I really I'm just so, like, this is just so amazing. It's incredible. It really is. It really is. I'm so happy. Also, um, I think this is a lot better than I thought it would be. Um, the Danbury cover. The Granada, I'm looking forward to reading that. Seeing how the CIA is telling you to view history. And of course, last but not least, Double Talk. Yeah. Thank you for watching. I'll have some comic books on their way. So when I get more, I'll let you know. And take care out there. Keep collecting. Collect what makes you happy. Don't invest. Don't listen to all that crap on YouTube about the hot books and all that shit. You know, just buy what makes you happy. There's a lot of people. I'm just gonna mention this. There's a lot of people out there who buy key issues, and that can be something you collect. You know, if that's your thing, that's your thing. Um, I don't care too much about them. I care a little bit about some characters. I would like Uncanny X-Men 1, but that's because I have the entire run. Um, Certain creators, I want their first work. I have most of what I want. Um, I would like Joe Kubert's first work, but I don't think I can afford that. Um, Other than that, I think I have most of the artists that I really like. I have their first work. Um, I'm a Bronx guy, you know, growing up in the 80s. So and most of the guys that I like aren't that popular, so their work is pretty easy to find and it's pretty cheap. Um, and I'm one of those guys who like to have runs of things, you know, like Elflord 1 to 31. I don't have the key issues. There are probably key issues in that series as well. I don't care about that. You know, I want to read it and I want to read the entire run because then you get a sense of the story and of the thoughts behind it and of the way the creators wanted something to look or maybe had something they wanted to say, subject matters that they dwelled into. And that's the stories are important to me. It's what I do for a living. It's what I love. I like reading. I like stories, and I like the combination of the artwork and the story. And I like it the most when you have some teams like Claremont and Byrne, and O'Neill and Adams. Like when two people collaborate, and it's just fucking magic. Um, I think O'Neill and Cohen with the question also. It was amazing. Anyway, that's what I love. That's what I'm looking for all the time. You know, to find these collaborations, to find these characters that I love, and the best stories with them. Uh, yeah, that's why I collect, and I like collecting, and I like to finish runs. So I'm one of those guys who buy filler issues, as you call them. To me, they're very important. To you, they're fillers. Because you don't give a shit, because you just want the keys. You can keep the fucking keys. I don't care. It's annoying to me, of course, if there's a key issue in a run that I want, and it costs like 4 times, 10 times the amount, because some schmuck has his or her first appearance. Also, I think maybe the word key gets a little bit diluted, because every fucking character is a key character now, really. Like the first moonbeam squirrel thingy. Nobody gives a shit, really. There's just like two people who cares, Great for them. Great for them. Don't make it a key because then they can buy it really cheap. And they can buy multiple copies and they can really enjoy it. It's not a key. First Spider-Man, that's a key. First Superman, you know, they're the big keys. Whatever. You should enjoy yourself. And collecting comic books should be really, really fun. It's not about money. Never was, never will be. On YouTube, they're trying to tell you that you can make loads of money, especially in 21, right? And then the market crashed, and A lot of people look really stupid. And it's sad because for a lot of people in 21, it wasn't about the comic books, it was about investments. You know, I have other hobbies. I like I like these guys here. And sometimes, there's an inflation and it's your fight. And everybody's, ooh, this is great. This is the price is going up. Everybody's joining the fray. And what happens when everybody joins the fray is that there's an implosion. It's the same with comic books, the same with these characters, the same with everything. There's an implosion and the market goes to hell. And for those of us who collect because we love books, it's sort of annoying. Um, yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now because I say way too much. Anyway, if there's anybody out there who wants to communicate or wants to do anything or you know have a chat or something like that, would be great. I like to reach out, um, and I like to be part of this community, even if it's on the sideline. That's why I'm doing this. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't do this like twice a week or something like that. I just do it when I feel like it. But I have no friends who cares about comic books. So I have myself to talk to, and I can show my daughter some books sometimes, but she's leaving home, and I don't think she's gonna miss that part of living here. Um, but yeah, so if anybody wants to talk about comic books, let's do it. Cheers, man. Bye.